Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for joining the live stream. Today, we are going to talk about IELTS Speaking Part 1 questions of the current season. Last Saturday, we already analyzed some of the questions, and in your invitation, you probably received the link to the previous recording, and you can also watch this if you wish. Today, we'll be analyzing other topics. So there might be some delay of about 30 seconds. Can you please put a plus somewhere in the chat just to show that you can hear me clearly? You can see the presentation. I see there are 5 people, and hopefully more people will join. So I would encourage you to participate actively. I'm going to share the expressions, ideas that I would use if when answering those questions, but I also encourage you to do the same. And yes, just but for now, can you please put a plus in the chat box? Okay, so thank you very much, Galina. Right, so we'll be dealing with topics just one by one. And the first topic that we have are gifts. Okay, I'll increase the... If any expressions or ideas come to your mind, please share it with others, because more all those people who are going to watch will benefit from this live stream. Right. So one of the topics in the current season, that's gifts. Of course, a simple synonym for a gift would be present. And bear in mind that a present, but to present, to give a gift. Right. So some useful collocations for this. You could say, for example, a thoughtful gesture. From time to time, I'll be looking in the chat box and I will see. Okay, Anna. Thank you, Denise. Also, thank you. So if you have any other ideas, any other expressions, then feel free to write them in the chat box also. So we'll brainstorm together. Okay, so a gift can be also a thoughtful gesture, or you can say a token of appreciation. A token of appreciation. If it's an expensive gift, you could call it a lavish gift. Okay, if you buy something quickly, just you see it, buy it, and you decide it's going to be a present, you can call it a spur of the moment purchase. A spur of the moment purchase. Okay. Then also gifts are covered with some, I don't know, maybe some paper or something else, some kind of fabric or tissue, and you can call it a beautifully wrapped. What's wrong? Beautifully wrapped gift. All right. So these are some general expressions that you can use. Let me see if somebody wrote something. Okay, Julia, thank you. Yes, if anybody, can I also please ask you to put likes to this video so that more people join us, hopefully from different countries, not necessarily from Russia. Okay, so an idiom, if you talk about gifts, you can say, for example, it's the thought that counts. It's the thought that counts. Maybe the gift was not very good, but you still like the intention, right? It's the thought that counts. Or if you give a very nice gift, you can also make someone's day. Make someone's day, right? If you have any other ideas, please write this in the chat. Okay, and please also put likes to this video. The questions which were reported for the current season are, what gifts have you received recently? So this can be, you can talk about a book, a gadget, or clothes. If you talk about books, you can say, you know, I'm a voracious reader. Ненасытный читатель. Voracious reader. So let's say we have a book. because I can't keep my hands away from a book if it has an intricate plot, or if it is a page turner. So a page turner is an interesting book that makes you turn pages, a page turner, or an unputdownable read, unputdownable read. Right? And my friends call me a serial bookworm or a lifelong bookworm. So they know I like books and they give me books as a present. This is one idea. Maybe then you can also say about gadget, then it depends, like you can do some terminology here, or clothes. Okay, so you choose what type of clothes they are, a shirt, a dress, whatever, and then you can say, so wearing these clothes, I look irresistible. Неотразимый. Irresistible. Or you can use I am dressed to kill. So to be dressed to kill means to look really well. To be dressed to kill, right? So some of these uh, lexical items can be used. So you can also say that it's something that it was something that I, for example, genuinely needed. Or you can use past perfect continuous. I had been dreaming of this present for quite a while. Genuinely needed. Genuinely, like really. Or something that I had been dreaming of for a long time. Okay, let me see if there are any other comments or ideas. If there are any comments or ideas, please write them in the chat. Then, do you think you're good at choosing gifts? You can say, well, yes, because I pay attention to people's interests. Or I sometimes struggle with it when I don't know people, when I don't know a person really well, or I prefer personalized gifts. Okay, and there's um, a verb to tailor the gift to the person. To tailor, like partnoy. So to tailor means to find a specific gift for a specific person. For example, as a teacher, if I teach an individual class, then I tailor my lessons to a specific student. So to tailor the gift to the person. Okay. So I usually avoid generic presents. Generic is like for everyone. Generic presents. Or I pay attention to pay attention to hints. Subtle hints. Намеки. Тонкие намеки. Subtle hints that people drop. Okay. So these are some ideas for this particular question. Or I give a gift. So I try to choose something that reflects our relationship. Uh, okay. Then what do you consider when choosing a gift? And this can be, of course, please write in the chat box, what do you consider when you give a present to someone? For example, these can be personality and hobbies. This can be emotional value. This can be how useful it is, the usefulness of the present. So you can say, well, I pay attention to whether it will actually be used. Actually be used. Or the recipient's personal tastes. Maybe it sounds a bit formal. Okay. Then, have you ever received? Okay, let me see in the chat box. No comments. Maybe there is a delay, but please just write something. It's not a lecture; it's a live stream for interaction. Okay, so have you received a great gift? Maybe it's a memorable childhood gift. A memorable or a travel experience. Somebody gave you a trip as a present. Or, for example, a present that I still cherish, Lilith, that I still cherish. Mhm. Or something that left a lasting impression on me. A lasting, or you can say an indelible. Indelible, like delete, неизгладимое. Indelible impression on me. Okay. Then, have you ever sent handmade gifts to others? Well, maybe that can be homemade food. Then you can use vocabulary related to food, whatever it is. Handmade card, a DIY craft. DIY means do it yourself. DIY craft, something you did yourself. A DIY craft. And maybe it's homemade card or a homemade dessert or a gift with a personal touch. A gift with a personal touch. All right. So these are some examples of expressions that you can use. Again, for those who are joining or leaving and joining, please write your own ideas, what you can say, which expressions you can use to talk about this or that, this or that question. Now, let's talk about the next topic that we'll deal with is days off. Okay, so when you have a day off, you usually have a rest. And here you can use expressions like развеяться, to unwind. Please pay attention. It's not wind, it's wind. To unwind, to recharge your batteries. And to rejuvenate. All of them means like to have a rest. Or for example, a day of pure relaxation. You can also отоспаться. Usually catch up on my sleep. Okay, then an idiom to let one's hair down. To let one's hair down also means like to have a rest. Do absolutely nothing. Take it easy. Things like that. Right? So what do you usually do when you have days off? For example, you can say like whenever I have a rest day, what I usually do is I try to unwind, recharge my batteries, and rejuvenate. What helps me to do this is that I do nothing throughout the day. I make it a day of pure relaxation. I usually don't wake up at the crack of dawn, and it helps me to catch up on my sleep. Right. So to sum up, I just let my hair down. Maybe there are too many idioms. Don't do that. It's not necessary at all. So what usually, maybe you can also say that I pursue hobbies. For example, I go to the gym, and in the gym I do push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, squats, and lunges. I also do cardiovascular or CV exercise on stair steppers, treadmills, exercise bikes, rowers, and so on. Okay, and then maybe, oops, you can say that I catch up on things that I usually postpone. Never put off till tomorrow what you can put off till the day after tomorrow. So I catch up on things that I usually postpone. Okay. I try to disconnect from work completely, or I usually take the opportunity to unwind, things like that. When was the last time you had a few days off? Well, maybe some public holiday like New Year holiday, May holiday in Russia. Um, it was maybe after an incredibly hectic week. After an incredibly hectic week. When finally I had a chance to recharge and take a short break from my routine. Okay, let me see if there are. So no other comments. If you have any ideas or expressions, then please write them in the chat. All right. So then what would you do if you had a day off tomorrow? Maybe you can say, I would go somewhere in nature, and there I can, like to a park, for example, and there I can созерцать первозданную природу, contemplate pristine nature. There I would, what's this? Прогуливаться вальяжной походкой. I would saunter surrounded by coniferous and deciduous trees, хвойные лиственные деревья, and then just use a couple of examples of trees, such as poplar trees, maples, oak trees with acorns scattered around them, junipers, можжевельники, or any trees that you know, to describe nature. Okay, I would dedicate the day to relaxation, or I would take a spontaneous trip. So things like that. Then, do you usually spend your days off with your parents or with your friends? So the answer depends on your personal circumstances. You can say it depends on my mood. I spend quality time with my family, but I have fun with my friends. Or when you have fun, there is also an expression to have a whale of a time, to spend time really well, to have a whale of a time. Right? I also catch up with my friends and spend a day in a good company. All right. If there are any other ideas for any of the questions, please write them. Please share them in the chat. All right. Then the next topic that we'll deal with is dreams. So there can be, some of the dreams can be vivid dreams. Yes, they look real. Some dreams can repeat several times, a recurring dream. Some of them can be strange, like a bizarre dream. So these are some collocations that you can use. If it's a bad dream, I think many people know, but it's a nightmare, right? And maybe you can remember some fragments of your dreams and share them with your examiner. Now, do you often see dreams? If it's often, you can say, well, quite often, or you could say occasionally. If it's very rare, you could say like once in a blue moon. And maybe you can compare your life now and your life in the past. For example, if you had asked me this question, let's say 10 years ago, I would have said that I saw dreams quite often. Having said that, now I do so once in a blue moon because, and they say, you can describe it. Okay, I've gotten older or something like this. So, and then you will use a third conditional. If you had asked me this question, let's say 5 years ago, that'll be a small plus for your grammar. Okay, so Anna, have family gathering, okay, to make somebody welcome, a whirlwind visit. All right. Thank you very much for yeah. So if there are any other ideas, please, everyone, feel free to share them also. Then, can you remember the dreams that you had? Maybe you can say, I can vividly remember a certain dream, vividly, like a vivid memory, vividly remember. I remember some emotional dreams, or I remember briefly, or I forget quickly. You can also say, which is probably true for most people, or maybe for everyone, they fade away quickly. They fade away quickly. Or you could say, I remember bits and pieces. Or some dreams stick in my memory. Okay, some dreams stick in my memory. Um, and do dreams have special meaning? So maybe you believe there is some psychological interpretation, or maybe they reflect our subconscious thoughts, подсознательные мысли. Subconscious thoughts. Or maybe you believe it's just a random brain activity. Or you can say, well, while some people believe that they reflect our subconscious thoughts and they have a certain interpretation, others disagree and they say that it's just random brain activity that has got nothing to do with reality. Okay. They're not necessarily symbolic, for example. Okay. Do you share your dreams with others? Again, depending on your experience, you can say yes, I do, no, I don't, or only when something is interesting, or if there are funny dreams, or if there are strange dreams. So you can say if they are interesting or funny, I occasionally recount them to friends. I occasionally recount them to friends. Or if the dream is particularly bizarre, or just for amusement, just for entertainment. Okay, so I'll just give you 30 seconds. Please write some expressions related to dreams, or a phrase or an idea that you can think of. Okay, just 30 seconds, and please write it in the chat box. Okay. Right. So the next topic is pets and animals. And you can call animals, for example, братья наши меньшие. There is an expression, our lesser brothers. Or you can say a loyal companion. For example, my cat or my dog is a loyal companion. Okay, or maybe it's a beloved pet. So you can also raise a pet, look after an animal, take a dog for a walk, form a bond with an animal. Form a bond with an animal. Okay, so have you ever had a pet before? Most of you will probably talk about cats and dogs. An opportunity here to show some advanced vocabulary, in my opinion, it's to talk about breeds of dogs. I don't know any breeds of cats, but if you ask me like about breeds of dogs, I can say, well, yeah, in my childhood we had three dogs: a poodle, a Chihuahua, and an Alsatian. I mean, I only know, or maybe a bulldog, but a poodle, a Chihuahua, uh, and an Alsatian. Alsatian — that's немецкая овчарка. Elizabeth Alsatian. Uh, but if you just say, I had a cat, I had a dog, nothing is happening to your score, and you're basically wasting your time. Right. So it was a beloved member of the family. I became, or I grew quite attached to it. Привязан. Quite attached to it. Or it brought a lot of joy into my life. Maybe you will decide to talk about a turtle or a hamster. It's up to you, but it's easier just to mention a couple of dogs. Okay, so Galina, I was horrified by a nightmare. Okay, yeah, that's nice, a nice phrase that you can also use in the exam. Okay, for those who have just joined, can I please ask you to put a like under the video so that it's uh, shared by YouTube algorithms with more people? Okay, so then what is the most popular animal in your country? Oh, by the way, I also forgot there is, you can also talk about birds like parrots, or there is a budgie. It's a kind of parrot, волнистый попугайчик. So most people have dogs and cats, but some keep birds such as budgies. Okay, so they're extremely popular among households. It's by far the most, so for example, a dog or a cat is by far the most popular pet. What's your favorite animal and why? It's up to you. So you can say, for example, pygmy shrew, карликовая землеройка, or you can say cats and dogs, like a dog, because I can go for a walk with my dog. Then okay, if it's, let's see where we can use this. Where do you prefer to keep your pet, indoors or outdoors? Okay, so for example, okay, let's deal with your favorite animal. Um, let's say it's a dog, and you can say, I admire them for their intelligence. I admire them for their intelligence. Снимаю шляпу перед этим животным. I doff my cap to this animal. Maybe you can say something like this. Meaning I respect them. I doff my cap to this like pet animal and so on. Or for example, they have a very gentle nature. Or maybe they are incredibly graceful animals. Okay. Where do you prefer to keep your pet, indoors or outdoors? For example, it's better to talk about a dog here that you can keep indoors, but then still you have to walk the dog on a regular basis. And if you do, then you take a поводок. Here you can use some precise vocabulary. A leash, ошейник, a collar, намордник, a muzzle, and go for a walk. So you don't have to keep it outside, you can keep it inside, but then just go for a walk with this dog by taking a leash, a collar, and a muzzle. So here's some nice topical vocabulary. Okay, any questions, comments? Please share them in the chat. Okay, so let's do one more topic. I see there are only 3 people, so some people have left. Let's just do this one. The vegetables, growing fruits and vegetables. So for fruits and vegetables, you can call this homegrown produce. Or, for example, organic vegetables. Mm, a small vegetable patch. Okay. Um, you can harvest crops. Harvest crops, or there can be сбор урожая, crop yields. Okay. Then you can жать то, что сеешь. You can reap what you sow. Sounds poetic. Right. So, are you interested in growing vegetables and fruits? If you are, you can say, I have a green thumb. That's an idiom. I have a green thumb. So it's an extremely rewarding activity. It's a surprisingly relaxing hobby. It helps me to unwind, to recharge my batteries, to rejuvenate, something we used in previous topics also. Um, it's also environmentally friendly. Okay. Do many people grow vegetables in your city? You can say, well, city is not the best place where you can grow vegetables because of the pollution. There are many cars that emit greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, methane, and that's why it's not a good idea to plant things in vegetables because they'll be ecologically polluted or contaminated. So no. Um, then is growing vegetables popular in your country? Oh yeah, so we've just done this. Should schools teach students how to grow vegetables? And maybe you can say if they live in a rural area, that's something that they might need in the future, and in this case, it's quite useful. However, if they live in a densely populated conurbation, conurbation is like a city consisting of many other cities, agglomeration, a densely populated conurbation, they are not likely to grow vegetables on their own, um, most likely. So if they do, they have YouTube, TikTok, and other internet sources, and where they can learn how to grow vegetables on their own. Then, um, do you think it's easy to grow vegetables? Okay, let me see if there are any comments. Okay, no, there are no comments. So you can say you need some basic gardening skills. Okay, you need some basic gardening skills. It requires a lot of patience. Requires patience. Also, maybe you can say, well, depending on weather conditions, because I come from, for example, St. Petersburg, where the weather is often blustery. The weather is often blustery with persistent drizzle. Um, Persistent drizzle. We often have overcast skies. And so whenever you go outside, like to, for example, Пропаловец, to weed or окучивать картошку, to mount potatoes, or to dig, копать. So whenever you go outside to weed, to mount potatoes, to dig, to water plants, you're bound to get a soaking and be drenched to the skin, промокнуть до нитки, be drenched to the skin. So I believe it's a daunting task and a formidable challenge. A daunting task means it's difficult. A daunting task and a formidable challenge. Or you can say an uphill struggle. All right. So, well, these are some of the expressions that I wanted to share with you. Okay. What is blustery? Yeah, blustery means windy. like really windy. The weather in some place, for example, in St. Petersburg, is often blustery with persistent drizzle, and you're bound to get a soaking and be drenched to the skin. So whenever you try to weed propolis or mount potatoes or something like this. All right. Any questions, comments, any final questions, comments, anything that you want to add? Any other expressions, any other ideas? Please put thumbs up, put likes under this video so that it's shared with others, with as many people as possible using YouTube algorithms. Yes, thank you all for participation. Thank you for watching. And we'll probably have another live stream in the near future, in the foreseeable future. Yes, thank you, Galina, also. Thank you, Denise. And see you in the next live stream.